Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Cut the Shit, a podcast series that aims to take a closer look at the impact of the IT industry, both the good and the bad. Cut the Shit is brought to you by Plow Networks, a managed IT services company based just outside Nashville, Tennessee. I'm Bryan Link, EVP of Products and Services here at Plow, and I'll be your host for this series. I'll ask questions, and with the help of our guests, try to dig deep on some of the key challenges we all face dealing with IT. So with that, let's cut the shit and get started.
This week, Bryan is off, so Talia and I are back. For many small businesses, marketing can be the forgotten department. Whether it isn't in the budget, it's too time-consuming, or a variety of other factors, many small businesses don't take full advantage of what marketing can do for their company. Today, we will be walking through a marketing toolkit that we have put together based off our experience that hopefully will make the job of marketing your business feel less daunting, more manageable, and overall give you some actionable steps to improving your small business's marketing in 2023. Enjoy.
Well, welcome back to the first episode of 2023 of Cut the Shit. As you can tell, this is not Bryan. Once again, the girls are back. The marketing girls are back. So for the first episode this year, we wanted to kind of do something a little bit different and give you something a little bit more like tangible and applicable for you to use in your business, or maybe, I don't know, something that you can relate to that we've also done here at Plow. But we're going to be kind of walking you guys through our marketing structure here at Plow, some of the things that we've learned over the years, and some of the takeaways that we have for you guys to maybe use in your business in 2023, and some of our marketing ins and outs that we're saying for the new year. So getting right into it, I think we've kind of discussed before, but Plow is more of a small business. So I think a lot of times in small businesses specifically, marketing's kind of the forgotten department. And so initially when the company started, I don't think there was a technical marketing department.
Yeah, I have definitely heard stories from Cameron and Bryan before they hired me onto the team where, I know that they both always saw the value in marketing and what it can do for the business, but it was more of a conversation around like, we're a small business. Does it make sense for us to pay for this type of resource?
Right.
Yeah. And so that, I feel like probably a lot of small businesses feel that way. And I feel like we're almost like not really small anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Just to like weigh the pros and cons and know that like if you are hiring somebody, especially if it's a sole person, they're going to have a lot of work to do.
Definitely.
So finding the right person is key as well in that, journey of deciding do we or don't we when it comes to marketing.
Yeah, I think so. And I think for a lot of small businesses too, it's kind of like putting the trust on somebody else to get what you know and how you want to communicate something out to somebody else, and kind of like delegating that is probably like something that's a little hard too, aside from the monetary part of it. It's like the releasing your baby to somebody.
Right. I've never owned a business, but I can imagine like as a small business owner, you're putting trust in this person to relay to the outside world, potential clients, current clients, like what it is that your business does, who you are as a business, your ethos, your core values, like all those things that I'm sure like keeps you up at night, especially when you're first starting a business,
right?
And wanting to craft like how you are perceived. So definitely at the beginning of my time here at Plow was a lot more like deep-seated collaboration with the founders like Bryan and Cameron, and I was not as confident as well, and I was just learning like what their message, what they wanted that to be, and all the things that I just mentioned, what their vision was for that. So I was also leaning on them a lot to be like, okay, I've done this, but what do you think? And I've written this up. Is this okay? Or put together this imagery. Does this like align with like how you see some of our content looking?
Yeah.
So yeah, I that's a long way to say yes. I can imagine as a small business owner, it's very hard to put your trust in somebody.
Yeah. Did you feel that in those earlier days of you working here and kind of being the sole person of the quote unquote marketing department, did you feel that it was kind of more on your shoulders to get those conversations started with everybody else because they maybe hadn't thought about these things before because the department just didn't really exist? And like, if so, how did you start having those conversations?
Yeah, I think it's something they definitely thought about. I think they actually thought about it a lot.
Yeah.
The two founders, which is like a good thing and a bad thing.
Right.
It was just a matter of like them putting like pen to paper and like agreeing on some things or coming up with messaging that they both like believed in and stood behind.
Right.
So my strategy was always like start something, like say, hey, we want to, I don't know, figure out what is our mission statement. That's something you do like very early on in a business, but we want to find out what our mission statement is. Rather than saying like, hey, what's our mission statement? I would say, hey, I've done some work. I put together a few different options for what I think, like from what I know, from how long I've been here, what I've experienced, what I think our mission statement is. And then that would get like their brains and their brains rolling. Sure.
Yeah.
And then they could come back to me, give me feedback and say like, you're close, or like, no, not at all. This is kind of more what I think it is. But I think just like taking a stab at it was key for me, and at least how the founders here work. They obviously are executives and founders, so they have a lot of competing priorities. So I felt like if I just put something down and presented it to them, that was definitely the best way to like try and get things done.
Yeah, but I think with all of that, those conversations that you were having and the communication between the people who founded the business and understand it best and the marketing department really helped move forward in all of the content that you guys were putting out and the overall voice of the company, like having those conversations and being really involved with the people, because at the end of the day, like, it's their message and, like we said, their baby. So having that open line of communication and being able to discuss all of that stuff, I think is really important when you bring anybody on in a company, but especially with marketing, because it is hard to grasp, especially this type of business that is very technical and very kind of far away from us in terms of our background in the products and services that we offer. So to like have that open line of communication, I feel like is really important.
Yeah, they're still in some ways, depending on what it is, like deeply involved. Like if it comes to something that's very close to the brand, like a differentiator statement or our story, or if we're ever creating content around that,
right,
they like to get involved, which I don't think, like, if you're in a big company, you don't really get that,
right,
which is awesome. Getting to work with them, and like they are so passionate about this company and this business, and they always come forward with like they have great ideas, because they know it best. And so I do still get to work with them to this day, which is always a lot of fun.
Yeah. So at what point did you guys decide that it was time to maybe expand the marketing department, or maybe make a shift in the type of content that that was being created here?
Yeah. It was a learning curve for sure for a few years, for me and others as well, because I would lean on other people, like I mentioned, to try and help with some of the things that I was working on, and just getting people to shift to that kind of mindset that they've maybe haven't thought about beyond like with themselves, like in their brain. So I think I was working solely for 3 years, where it was just me, which was, it's a lot. Like, as a small business, you really, like, I don't think many have large marketing teams more than like 2 or 3 people.
If that. I mean, some, I feel like it's up to the people running the business to do the marketing.
Right. Like if it's an architecture firm, maybe it's one of the designers who's running their Instagram page. Right. Because she likes that as in addition to like her job, and she's like, oh, I'll take it on. Like I can do that. But yeah, so it was like 3 years where I was working alone, trying to juggle a lot. I had like a lot of ideas in terms of what I wanted to do or what I thought that we should do or could do. But a lot of my time was being bogged down by some of the things that we talk about a lot that are like essential to the business, but just are time consuming, like running social media accounts, like in big companies with big marketing teams. I imagine it's like one team running the Twitter, one team running the Instagram.
Yeah.
Obviously that we're not there, and I don't know if we ever will be, and that's not always necessary and is probably not necessary for a lot of businesses. But running like all of those things alone on, and then trying to like have side projects in terms of creating video content and writing blog content, and then one year we were redoing the website. It's just a lot to juggle. So I think just adding one person to the team, for like creativity, was one of my main goals, like somebody that is dedicated to the marketing team that I felt like I could bounce ideas off of, or they could bring ideas to me, and like we could just work together more like on a day-to-day basis versus like when somebody on another team had time.
Yeah.
And as we've talked about before, like it's funny because we're talking about you.
Yeah.
But this second person that we brought on.
Yeah, this mysterious
surprise,
person.
It was Emily. We just saw a huge need for video content, and that's kind of where it was like, okay, I can create video content, but some of my other priorities are then going to have to fall by the wayside because it's just, again, everything obviously takes time.
Yeah.
So that's really where the need sprung from.
I think making that decision we always think social media is like easy. It's kind of like, it's an afterthought. But in the way that the world works right now, it's like, that's like like you said, that's like a whole job. Like there are people now who are social media managers or directors or whatever. And the way that it consumes time, it's nearly impossible to create the type of social media presence without dedicating a lot of your time to that. And so I think where a lot of businesses maybe don't realize the time that it does take. So that's starting off with like, I'll just run the social media page, or Susie has extra time, even though she works in HR, but she says she likes Instagram. It can become overwhelming really quickly. And I think once you do hire people to start taking that over, that's when you're able to kind of expand into these other marketing things that we've been working on, because your time isn't allocated solely to, I got to put out 4 Instagram posts a week and 6 LinkedIn things or whatever. So
and it's about the quality of the content you post out there too, which takes time in terms of like sitting down and making like a thought out decision of like what is going to go out in this time frame or during this social media campaign, or whatever it is, whatever your strategies are. It's not just like, okay, let me just write something up really quick and get out there, because we have to put out 3 LinkedIn posts this week. But I do like, it is so important. I feel like our social media, especially our LinkedIn page, has attributed a lot to our branding and our recognition out there, like
totally.
in this space. I would never trade that for anything. Like, I know, like I said, it takes time, and it's sometimes can feel like a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, is so worth it.
I think it's worth it too. And also just when you are, especially I think in the IT industry, which is known to be like more cold, more kind of in the background, you need to present yourself to people as people. And I think social media does a great job of allowing you to show the rest of the world who you are, what you do, and why you do it. And especially the way that it is now with LinkedIn being, I feel like it's more interactive now than it used to be. People are encouraged to comment on things and share things and post promotions or job transfers. It makes it really easy to communicate directly with people rather than like just sending out an email. It's something is more personable about social media than anything else. So yeah, I do think it's definitely worth it. And if it's not something that you're currently doing, I think if you take anything away from this, it's get on social media.
Yeah.
In 2023.
Yeah, businesses can be a little stiff.
Yeah.
You know, and I get that because you want to be professional, obviously, and reputable, and you know, people to take you seriously. But at the same time, I think like what I've seen out there, whether it's business content or just people on LinkedIn, what I've seen like go viral or have a lot of engagements is like people being real and talking about their real experiences or real thoughts or feelings towards different topics. And I think that's part of like what we're trying to do with this podcast itself, is just like real business people talking to real business people about like what are their challenges every day, what keeps them up at night. I know we say that a lot. And just like relate to the people that are actually like, you forget that there's actually, when you get 10 likes on your LinkedIn post or whatever, like those are 10 human beings.
Right.
And that means that you resonated with them in some type of way, and they can relate to what you've put out there. Yeah. And I just think that's so important again.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when I was initially hired on, it was as like a video content intern. And that decision that the company made to start pushing out video, I think was genius, because like we said, it's like, how do you get to know a business when you don't know a business? And so putting video and adding a voice to your company is just, I don't think there's really a downfall in it, honestly. And then the podcast as well, it's just essentially a form of video content or audio content, and it's another way to just communicate with your audience. So I think that's great.
Yeah, and we are not perfect by any means.
No.
We're just two marketing girls trying to get by here. But
yeah, I mean, we're learning, and we've learned a lot along the way. And so that's kind of the point of the rest of this episode, is we're going to kind of give you a toolkit, I guess, a marketing toolkit of things that we've done, we've implemented, some things that didn't work and some things that have worked, and what we've done, and hopefully like you can walk away with some more knowledge. But I think to get right into it, we've kind of broken this up into 8 sections, I believe. So get your pen and paper down, or don't.
By we, Emily means her.
Yeah.
Actually, there's nothing. My laptop is just here for a security blanket. There's nothing on here.
Yeah, so we've kind of broken this down into 8 sections. So we'll just take you through these, and hopefully you can find something that you like out of it, and maybe implement it or not. We're not, like we said, we're not experts. This is just what's worked for us. Number 1, I think I kind of hinted at this in the beginning, but it's just communication. That's been a really, I think we have improved our communication a lot, just between you and I, and also with the rest of the team members a lot this past year, I guess. Can't say this year anymore. It's been like 4 days. But we've done a lot of focus with communication.
It's actually pretty comical to think it's different when you're alone and when you're doing things alone and you don't really have someone to collaborate with or report back to. I mean, I did, but like, again, solely dedicated to the marketing team.
Yeah.
So it's pretty funny how I would manage myself like a few years ago. Like, to all you single marketing team people in a small business, like, I see you.
Yeah.
I would like literally, this is how I would manage my tasks. Okay. This is just exposing myself.
Hey, cut the shit.
I would have a book, and every day I would write like my top 3 priorities for the day that I would delegate to myself. Okay. Based on obviously like some other things or requests I've had, but for the most part, these would be great ideas for me to like implement and do. And then, so I'd have my top 3, and then I would have a nice to have list. Like, if I got all those 3 things done, would put like 2 or 3 more things. I would be like, I would have a really good day if I got to those. And if I didn't check any of them off that day, I would just like roll them over to the next day in my new list. And that's how I would manage myself.
And also, that's how you would manage yourself as somebody who has the organizational brain to even do that. Because I'm thinking, if it was me as the solo marketing department, like, that's not how my brain works. My brain is like, it's like a dog, like squirrel, and then you just shift your focus. So for me, I think what's really worked for us is the difference in our, like, the way it works, because you are very organized, where I am very, like, what is it, left brained or right brained, the creative side. I just kind of like have these ideas and I just spurt them out, where you've kind of helped me reel it in a bit.
Yeah, it's a balance, because I don't like to micromanage. I'm not trying to micromanage anybody, but at the same time, you have to stay on the same page. And I think what we've learned is just like having one place where we could just have everything that we can always reference back to or refer back to is key. Like, it doesn't really work if you have your own tool that you're using.
Right.
I have my own tool that we're using. Like, how are we going to talk and not literally talk, but, you know, get on the same page.
And it was trial and error for that for a while in terms of like actual tools that we use to keep ourselves organized and to like have like a good line of communication through with other people on in the company.
If we want to get granular, what were we using last year? Like Trello or something?
I think we started with Trello because it was like integrated into Microsoft Teams. And I believe we were using the free version.
We were using Teams tasks too at one point. It's been a journey, people.
Yeah, we've used a lot. Obviously, we're a Microsoft company. We use Microsoft products, and Teams does have a good like task section. It's just what we're doing is so, I think, more intricate and step by step and timelines and a lot of different calendars needed, so it just wasn't the best option for us.
I was gonna say, if we put all of our tasks under tasks, it would be so overwhelming. We need a way to break it up into categories, like, okay, here's tasks for our website, here's tasks for the podcast, tasks for email, tasks for social, and so just finding a tool that was able to compartmentalize those things, I felt like was very like beneficial.
And it was like towards the end of 2022 was when we started using the tool that we're using now, which is Monday.com. And like always, nobody's paying us to say any of this, but I feel like
Monday.com.
Shout out Monday.com.
Sponsor? No, I'm just kidding.
But honestly, it's worked really great for us so far. We've been using it for a few months, and as somebody who is not type A at all, I still like it. I don't feel like it's micromanagement. I don't feel like it's overbearing. And also, there's a lot of cool features in terms of like push notifications or just commenting, liking.
Commenting back and forth to each other, attaching files, you know, putting due dates, setting priority level, setting what's the status of it. Like, are you haven't started working on it? Like, waiting for approval.
It's a great project management tool that I think could be used in any department, honestly, not just marketing, but it's worked really great for us.
And sometimes I would approach those tools and I would feel like they provide you a lot of like good templates for like your contact calendar, for example, and I would look at it and I would be like we're too small, not too small, but like we don't do all of these things. It's almost like set up for like bigger marketing teams. So I think just like it did take time. It took me like days to set it up, but taking the time to just customize it for you. Sometimes I would look at the templates and I would just get overwhelmed because I'm like, we don't need all this. And now I've messed it up because I've tried to change what they already had in place. And I've messed it up. So it is like a little labor of love to get like a tool like that set up, but like a couple days goes a long way when it's, you know, you're using it.
Totally. So we use that right now and we're really liking it. And then with that, we also use Hootsuite for our social media stuff, which we like. And it's a pretty easy application to use for posting your social media and queuing it up. So you don't have to sit there at 11 a.m. if that's the best time for you to post and physically post it. If
you're just like starting out for a business or maybe you are the HR person who's been handed like 2 jobs and you have to do socials for your company as well. Scheduling is key because you could like take an hour and a half or something and schedule one post for the next 5 days on a Monday, and then you don't have to worry about it again till the next Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's basically our big spiel on communication and communication tools. But those are some suggestions that we have. Also, if you're using Trello and you love it, or if you're using Teams and you love it, that's awesome. But it just didn't work great for us.
Finding
and
one
our
that
goals.
works for you is important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, got to go backtrack who said what and when, and I had that idea, where did I put it? It's just like, marketing, like, it's creative brain.
Exactly.
So sometimes, like, thoughts and ideas just come to you, so just having somewhere
that you can put it and not forget about it, because I'll have like 20 ideas a day, but if I don't write them down in 30 minutes they're gone.
Right.
So it's great. The next thing that I wanted to kind of talk about is something that we implemented pretty early on in me being here, but it's having goals for that year or that quarter or whatever. And we've been doing this, and I think it's been really helpful for me, at least, to kind of see like the bigger picture of everything. But that's just like establishing SMART goals on your team or for yourself, and holding yourself and your department accountable to like achieving those goals throughout the year.
Yeah. Again, like with this one, we're not revolutionizing anything here. Like,
any business school you've ever been to will tell you to do this, but like they were right.
But yeah. But you should listen. No, but sometimes, especially again, like if you're the only marketing person, it's almost like feels kind of silly to just like
to set goals for yourself. Like it's kind of
like,
weird.
You're just like, okay, I'm gonna make these 5 goals for myself for the quarter, and no one's really keeping me accountable for them, and let, like, obviously you have to be super self-motivated if you're in that position regardless, but it is important because, like you said, just feeling a purpose of what you're doing on a day-to-day, like, okay, but why are we posting 5 times a week on LinkedIn? Like, what is the goal? And those SMART goals just help with that, and give you something to strive for, which I think is important no matter what job you're in.
Yeah, definitely.
If you need some inspiration, I'm just looking at ours here without explicitly telling everybody all of our very specific goals for the year. Some like good categories that you might want to focus on is boosting engagement rate, and you can determine which profile is most important for your business. If you're B2B like us, it might be LinkedIn. Maybe you want it to be Instagram because you're trying to source new hires through there and showing your culture. Search engine results, SEO, and ranking in Google searches is a good category to focus on. If you're doing email marketing, generating qualified leads through email is always a good goal to focus on. Social media followers, that's obviously, we've been talking about this a lot so far this episode, is a good one to focus on. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and I think with all of these is it's definitely been like kind of trial and error in figuring out like what we want our goals to be, but those are all great.
What's important.
Yeah, exactly. And also having those conversations with the people at the top and seeing like what they envision for this year or whatever. But we've
if
also
your website's really important to you.
Yeah.
Like contact or converting people on your contact forums.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Exactly.
It doesn't have to be like huge and feel like, sometimes you feel like, I would have this a lot. I would Google like
what should we
SMART goals for marketing teams in 2020.
Right.
And it would be these like huge goals or like things that we're not actually focused on, but it would seem like that's what you should be striving for because that's
everybody else is doing.
Right. And it's like learned over time, like, no, okay, that's good, like in terms of inspiration or a starting point, or like how I was just explaining, like giving you some ideas of maybe some areas that are important to you. But a lot of that you have to figure out as you go.
Right. And I think a lot of it too is like really depends on your industry. Like some industries, like certain things don't really matter as much or maybe matter more, and definitely the size of your company impacts all of that.
Like
but
if your website's really working for you to convert leads, you probably want to focus your goals for the next year on like enhancing your website to get even more.
Right. Right. Stick with stuff that's already going good and figure out how to improve that. And you're going to see a lot more results from that than trying to completely fix something that maybe just doesn't work.
Agreed.
Also, I think I just wanted to kind of mention this in our goals. We are both, I think, always wanting to learn more and expand our knowledge within our industry, within the marketing world in general. And so one resource that we've really taken advantage of over the last 2 years is HubSpot's Academy function. It's essentially a online course portfolio of different segments within the marketing world of classes, I guess, that you want to improve your knowledge on. And some of them are kind of silly and maybe a little bit redundant for things that you already know. But we focused a lot last year on SEO and kind of figuring out what that really means. It's a buzzword. You learn about it in college, or if you didn't go to college, you've probably Googled it a lot. But it's like, what does it actually mean, and how is it actually impacting your business? And that was something that I think we learned a lot from.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to continue to use in the future. But it's a free resource, and it's really great. And it takes a couple of hours to finish, and you can get a cool certification and throw it up on your LinkedIn. So.
Yeah. No, that's a good point too. And these goals that we're talking about don't always have to be data-driven goals either. One of our goals last year was, did we execute on our marketing content plan for the month?
Right.
Or what? Yeah, we did a monthly scorecard. So did we execute and create everything that we had on the calendar for that month? Yes or no? And the goal was yes, we did execute it all. Or it could be take one HubSpot Academy course per quarter or something, whatever. It doesn't have to be, and those maybe are more personal goals, but yeah, just to point out, it doesn't always have to be increase website traffic by 27% by the end of the year, or we're gonna burn up in flames.
Yeah, exactly.
And as a small company, it's not the really way to say it, but maybe the pressure is not as on so much, so you can explore and trial and error, but have goals like that are very tangible goals, but actually go a long way.
I agree, because I think if you make your goal too hard, it's going to feel very discouraging, especially when you're a small department.
Right.
Because not the blame, but almost the reason for not achieving it only goes on your shoulders. So that can kind of be a hard thing to focus on. So yeah, definitely create bite-sized tangible goals that you can achieve. And then that's also a great motivator, especially if you're a solo person, to do more next time or whatever.
This year we're going to keep it, even if you're I could do more. And I'm not saying don't reach for the stars.
Right.
But you have to build, and you have to make sure you can actually achieve it before you move on to making the goal bigger than you initially wanted it to be.
Right. Exactly. This is just kind of important for the basis of your marketing messaging. But it's just find the vibe. And I think having those conversations with the people whose vision you're working with is really important on this one, and discovering how you want the world to see your company. And this year we did a lot to kind of, it was always the end goal was this vibe, I think, but there's been a lot of different pathways to get there. But this year we really focused on honing in on that vision, on that vibe, on that color palette, on that look with all of our content. And I think it always looks nicer, and it almost fools people to think that you have a marketing department of 15 when the stuff that you're putting out looks like it. So it's tedious, but I think it's definitely worth it to really sit down and figure out what is it that we want everything to kind of look like.
Yeah, there's a couple parts to that with us. At the beginning, a lot of that was set already.
Right.
Obviously, the business had been established for, I don't know, at least 5 years, I think, before I came on board. Yeah, probably about 5 years. So they obviously had branding in place in terms of colors and fonts and their logo. But this past year, once we've now had a few years where we've been putting things out consistently. I feel like this past year, you're right, I feel like we made it just a little bit more sleek, a little bit more simple, a little bit more in line with how we speak. Yeah. Which we're always touting, and all that we do is like simplicity, and almost just like modernize the brand a little bit. Mm-hmm.
We also
consistently doing that. So now when you scroll through our timeline or our posts or feed, all of the posts in terms of whether there's a graphic associated with it or a little video or something, and we're still working towards this, but they all have a similar style.
Right. Yeah, I think so. And we also did something fun this year. We worked with a company to get some audio because part of our business is done over the phone. And I don't know if you've ever called like a company and you are on the on hold music and it sounds like 80s.
Yeah, like elevator music.
Yeah, it's just bad. And I think once we kind of had that sound and that vibe, once that matched vibes of simplicity and modern and cool, and once we had that, I think that also gave us like kind of more of the inspiration towards like our video content, towards our written content and everything to match that as well.
It did kind of catapult like a little change.
Yeah.
Insert clip of song now.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
It's the song for Cut the Shit. We actually changed the song to match that. Not that we wouldn't have changed it before, because I think we were kind of on that direction anyways, but I think after having those conversations with the company that did the sound, it kind of helped us honestly like think about what we wanted to be portrayed as and who we wanted the voice of the company to be like. And so I think that helped a lot.
Yeah, no, you took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, working with that company, who they were obviously experts at that in terms of putting music and like a voice, a literal voice.
Yeah. A person's actual voice.
Yeah, literal voice.
Frank or Joe or
yeah,
Henry
who was
or something.
Like,
I don't
Ryan.
know.
I don't know what his name was. But thank you, Ryan.
Yeah.
That represents your brand. It like encouraged almost like a little brainstorming session of like what are these qualities that you want to portray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that whole exercise and that whole little project started a lot of like the direction of where we started to then head, like probably mid last year.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then so from that, we've said this a million times, but like social media. So after we did all of that kind of work towards establishing like a unified portrayal of what we wanted everything to look like, we kind of slowly started transitioning our social media to like fit that image as well. But yeah, I mean, we've said it a million times. It can be a pain, but it's definitely worth it. If you're not on social media, get on social media.
Yeah, and it's good to have conversations too. We did this, or like a conversation with yourself, I guess, again, if you're the only person.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point? Like, because people know this, I think.
Yeah.
Like, each social media platform typically serves a different purpose.
Right.
So revisiting those accounts and like, why are you posting this on LinkedIn and Instagram? Like, maybe that doesn't really make sense. Maybe this is an educational piece. So this should really just be on LinkedIn. And again, it creates more work because it's like, okay, then why do we have our Instagram page? What's that for?
Right.
Well, for us, that's for showcasing our culture and showing like what it's like to work at Plow behind the scenes, like more authentic. I mean, all of our content is authentic, but you know what I mean? Showing the culture, the behind the scenes, and
we've also done that with our
on the spot type of content.
Yeah, we've also done that with our video content as well, because in 2022, culture was a big thing for us. We really wanted, it's really important for us as a company, and everybody here feels the same way about our culture, but in terms of like prospecting or having new people come in with a company, it's always kind of like hard to like catch the vibe, or like what's it going to be like working there. We really wanted people to like understand that, or even potential clients or whoever to
not just what it's like to work there, what's it like to partner with them,
to work with them. Yeah. And 100%. So that was a really big focus for us last year, and that's kind of what I think inspired the Instagram to kind of make that turn as well, because we had been posting more like product/service type content, but I think realizing that your audience is different on each platform is important as well. So it is more work. It does create more work because you're going to have to tailor your content to each individual platform, but I think the payoff is definitely worth it.
Right. You could just post the exact same copy with the same image on every platform and be like, all right, I'm done my whatever post for the day. But it's not resonating with those that are seeing it.
Right, totally. And like, why would I follow you on 5 different platforms if you're just going to post the same thing on every single one?
Right.
On that though,
I was doing that for a long time, especially when I was again alone and I just was.
Because honestly, you didn't have time. Though. Right, exactly. I mean, if that's what you have to do, it's what you have to do. But at some point, I think, diversifying those social media platforms and truly taking advantage of like the purpose of each one. Instagram's a much more personable app than LinkedIn or Twitter. And so, just realizing that, Twitter's great. But then also on that, like, you don't need to reinvent the wheel in all of your content that you're doing. Yeah. Yes, you should like kind of customize it for each one, but you can also take a marketing campaign that you've created and take pieces of each one and use those on your other, if it's a website, if it's an email, if it's whatever, you can take bits and pieces of that. And I think we've always known that, but I think we've really taken advantage of that this past year with the website update and using bits of content from all over to kind of amplify some of the current messaging that we had.
It's okay to repurpose. Like if we had an amazing campaign go out like in 2020 about some topic. Yeah. And now we want to revisit it again this year. Like my first place is I'm going to go back and see what we wrote about it back in 2020 and pick things that I really like that we put out there and maybe not like share it out again, like verbatim word for word, but taking inspiration or tweaking it or, whatever. And like using all that hard work that you did a year and a half ago.
There's no need to just throw it away after you use it.
Right. And like, no offense, people probably didn't see it or followers you had back then, you now have new followers who didn't scroll back to 2020 to check out what you were talking about. Probably, maybe. Yeah. But it's okay to repurpose.
Totally. And I think a big part of our website that you did last year was kind of making it all integrated and taking advantage of all the content we've been making. And I mean, specifically video, I think I've made like 60 something videos since I've been here. And like, posting that on YouTube is awesome, but a lot of people may never go to your YouTube or may never see it. So taking clips of that, or whether that's embedding or whatever, and putting that on your website where people are checking out, or posting it on your Twitter where the clip is relevant. It's an easy way to make more content out of the things that you've already put a lot of work into doing.
Right. I mean, fresh stuff is obviously important as well, but
but it's definitely I feel like it's just like, don't waste all of the work that you've already done on something when you can just reuse it or reinvent it, spice it up and make a newer version, but use the basis of the last. Okay, number 7. Or this might be number 6 because we might have meshed 2 together. So number 6, be flexible. Things aren't always going to work out the way that you set them in the beginning of the year, or the goals that you have at the beginning of the year might need to change. So I think don't be afraid to pivot, and also don't be afraid to like admit like, okay, that didn't work. Yeah. Like, and try something new, especially when you're a small marketing department. You have the ability to kind of like trial and error a lot of stuff. And especially when you're not allocating funds to big projects. Like, I mean, if you're trying a social media campaign and it flopped, that's no money lost on you. So try something else. And it's okay to like, I mean, we have here, but it's like, don't be afraid to fail. Like if you do figure out what went wrong and pivot that.
Yeah. There's countless times where I had this like genius idea in my head and I started to work on it and I'm like, this isn't going to work out as like amazing how I thought it would in my head.
Yeah.
Which sucks because you feel like you've already spent some time and effort planning and thinking about like what could be of this like campaign or video or whatever it is. And like you said, just be flexible. And I would rather just turn my time to something new that I know that's going to work than waste my time like trying to fit like a square in a hole.
Right.
Something,
exactly.
You know?
And I think one example of this, and not to out us, but last year we set some goals around SEO kind of before we really understood SEO. And so we had these goals that we didn't think were too complicated or overwhelming. And then once we started learning more about SEO, we're like, ooh, maybe that isn't achievable this year. So let's shift it to something that maybe is a little bit more realistic, or shift our focus to something else that we're already doing great, like we kind of said earlier. And so, just kind of don't harp on the failure, but also like acknowledge it and then be flexible to move on to something else.
There's nothing worse than like something looming over you every day that you are like, probably deep down might not be achievable for at least like right now, this point in time, this quarter, this year, whatever it is. Yeah, it's okay to like put that aside. Yeah. Maybe we'll revisit it. But right now, in this point in time, this other thing is actually way more important and we could do amazing things. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay, and then the last thing is just spend your money where it's worth it. Yeah. Marketing, I think, to a lot of people seems like a very expensive department because larger corporations make it so. I mean, spending thousands of dollars on video or advertising or whatever, but it doesn't have to be if you, I think, do the work and you understand your audience. It doesn't have to be this multi-million-dollar department in terms of spending.
Yeah, we don't spend a lot of money.
No,
we're very select in terms of like outside resources or outside companies that help us achieve some of the things that we're doing. Have been always like very selective. I think probably as a business, not just a marketing team, of like what is actually worth spending the money on.
I think doing your research too and understanding what you need to put the money towards, and then things that maybe aren't worth it as much to you as a marketing department. For us, we have cameras here, we have audio equipment, so making video content, we don't need to go hire a videographer or a company to come in and edit, produce videos for us. But maybe if you don't have that knowledge or equipment and you do want to put out a video, that could be something important to you. But I think it's deciding where you want to spend your money and also deciding like what's worth it. Like maybe it's just worth it to hire somebody on full time as a marketing person than to hire a consulting company every year or every quarter to come in and do it all for you and outsource it, whatever that is. Like, I think really deciding like for you what's worth it and what's not. It doesn't have to be a very expensive department.
Yeah, it's all going to be like personal.
Totally.
Based on like what are your skill sets or the skill sets of your team that you already have that you can do in-house. And then what's important to you if maybe your team doesn't have those skills that for you, you've tested it, it's worked. So that's like step one. Yeah. Like know that there's going to be then some trial and error like in the first time. Maybe you put some money towards a LinkedIn campaign and you can see that it's performed way better than any of your other posts that you put on LinkedIn. So you can say, okay, yeah, this makes sense for us to spend money now. Right. X amount each month on LinkedIn ads. But there's so many free resources out there. Yeah. And I just think it depends on what it is. Like we have spent money on things. We've spent good chunks of money on things, but they've been a lot of times like a one-off or very selective, like we see the value in it. Right. But in terms of like a monthly budget where we're spending like a lot of money, we don't here. It's the most money we spend is on our people and our tools that we actually use on a day-to-day basis, like the Monday.com or the camera equipment that we'll invest in.
Right. Or like the editing software that we use. But other than that,
Right.
like, yeah, it's not a big spend. And I think that maybe like a deterrent for a lot of people to have a actual marketing department is that fear of the money being spent, because outwardly marketing can definitely seem as very expensive thing, but it doesn't have to be, and you can spend as much or as little money as you want, honestly.
Especially as a small business. Like, start small, but something's better than nothing.
Yeah. Most applications too, especially like social media ones, like they have free versions that you can use. Like we use Canva, we use the membership, but like the free version's pretty dang good. Like there's a few things that you can't really customize on it, but like for somebody who just like, I don't want to spend $20 a month or whatever, like the free version.
Or you don't want to hire a graphic designer.
Exactly. Like there's so many options. HubSpot, like we said, HubSpot Academy is free. Canva has a free version. Moz, if you're interested in SEO stuff, they also have a lot of free parts of that. Monday.com we do pay for, but there's a free version that I use in like different parts of life called Asana.
She liked it so much she uses it in her own
life. I do. I love it, but I didn't love spending the money for Monday.com, so I got Asana, which is like the Walmart version, but it's pretty dang close.
I feel like we probably used that one year.
Yeah, probably. And then what we put our podcast out on is called Podbean, and it is free for a certain amount of minutes per month. We do a paid version, but I think it's like barely over $100 a year. So like even that is very inexpensive, and spend as much or as little money as you want. And that's just kind of like our
money
takeaways.
Definitely works. I'm not saying it doesn't. Like it definitely can bolster all the hard work. Like
totally.
We've been talking about that you are working on to get in front of more people that would be interested in whatever it is you're selling. But it doesn't have to be, especially not at the beginning.
Right. Exactly. So I think to wrap the episode, we're just going to kind of do some rapid fire ins and outs of marketing stuff for 2023, since this is the first episode of the year. These are kind of some trends, or maybe just some things marketing departments do that we think are A, worth it, or B, like, no, not worth it, don't waste your time. So, all right. Are you in first?
In. Okay,
in short form video. Okay, if you're not making video content, what the heck are you doing? Like, you can literally shoot it on your iPhone or your Android. Hey, no hate to Android users, but what are you doing? An iPhone is so much better. Shoot it on your iPhone.
I think most of our audience would beg to differ on that.
I believe so. But also, like, your videos look like they're shot from like 2006. So get with the program. iPhone video is perfectly fine for honestly most YouTube as well. Post it on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, whatever. Just short form video is in.
Yep. Out. Technical jargon. This is like core to our messaging. We try to avoid this at all costs. It's okay to speak in layman terms.
Yeah.
In a way that people will understand and relate to. We don't need all the gizmo gadget talk. Yeah. Clearly, you're not getting it from us.
You don't need all that newfangled bullshit, okay? Keep the technical jargon off especially on social media. Nobody cares. In authentic and natural content, I think gone are the days of super scripted, very like, I don't know, produced content. So definitely like just make it you, make it natural, make it the voice of the company. And like if everybody else is doing something and you're not that way, like it's okay to just be authentic and be yourself. I think definitely with this podcast we've really tried to focus on authenticity and like cutting the shit. So yeah.
You took my next out, which is highly produced content.
Yeah.
What she said.
Yeah, and that goes into the big spend on that too. Sure. I mean, we don't need a 4K HD
green screen.
Yeah. Honestly, that deters, especially with a small business. I feel like being real and being relatable and authentic is very appealing when you're working with somebody.
Right.
And so, just keep it real and
as a small business, like if you're the marketer in a small business, like I would so highly try and encourage your business owners to get involved in what some of the things that you're working on, and showing the people who are consuming your content like what they're like, who they are as people. Because if you really are a true small business, like they're probably the ones also interacting,
talking
with clients. So if someone can see on the other end a video of them explaining, I don't know, like your business, why you started the business, and feel related to them on some level, and you end up getting a meeting with them, they're going to be a little bit slightly more comfortable going into that meeting because they kind of have a feel for maybe what they can expect from them.
Totally. Yeah. And it doesn't feel like such a far away person. Like you feel closer to them before even like having a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. On that, like, yeah, behind the scenes, show your people. It's in. Yes, it's in, not out. It's in. Show your people. We talked about earlier on our Instagram, we're really focusing on culture. And a big part of that is just like getting our people, whether they like it or not. We're trying to get everybody a little bit more used to maybe some cameras being around and taking some photos and making fun little videos. But yeah, just showing the world the people that you hire is a great way to like A, show your culture, and B, like humanize your business.
Yeah, if you're trying to grow, people want to know what it's like to work there.
Exactly.
Okay, my next out is posting to post. We talked kind of a little bit about this earlier in the episode, but post with like a purpose.
Yeah.
Like, why are we putting out this piece of information, or why are we putting out this content, like blog or a white paper or something? Like, what is the person who's on the receiving end going to benefit from it?
Yeah. Yeah, and if there is no benefit, like, don't post it.
Yeah, agreed.
You don't need 4 Instagram posts a day just to, like, check off the box because Google said you need to post that many. Like, if it's not serving a purpose, like, nobody really cares.
Yeah, there's obviously some research and
algorithm stuff,
behind it, but again, I think that can sometimes be like, yes, if you are working at a corporation. Yeah. Well, we're talking about small businesses here, so I just don't think that's always the case.
True. Yeah, definitely. On the post, be simple when you are just like putting all of your marketing content out there. It doesn't need to be super intricate and crazy. Like, I think this past few months, and especially going into 2023, our goal is kind of just simplicity with everything that we're doing. We've learned a lot from the past and the way that we've advertised ourselves, and I think simplicity works the best for our audience, for our industry, so keep it simple.
Yeah, that comes with time too.
Totally.
Like just getting comfortable and getting to know the business, and like definitely at first socials would take me days and days because I was not as comfortable with feeling confident in like the types of content or to speak or things like that. So just something that can take some time to get really comfortable with.
Exactly.
Oh, it's my turn. Sorry. Outs, or next out. Pushy marketing content / spamming. Yeah, that's kind of the whole vibe of not just marketing but sales here. It's like we're not trying to sell just to sell you something. Like, we're always going to try and serve you content or a solution or whatever, because it's from what we've heard about you and your problems and goals that you're trying to achieve. It's something that you might need. It's not just like we sell this so you must buy it. And that's something we try not to have come across in our marketing content either. And nobody likes that.
No, nobody likes the old like car salesman shtick or getting 20 emails a day. The spamming is out in 2023. Enough.
And some of the tools like can help you with that in terms of seeing like, okay, did this person open?
Yeah, exactly.
Or did this person click? Which can give you some like more knowledge as to, okay, do I follow up or do I just maybe follow up in 6 months? Yeah, leave the door half open, but we're not going in just yet. They need some time.
Yeah, exactly.
They got to clean up. They have to tidy up.
Exactly. Let them marinate. Okay, in is educational content. People want to know how stuff works, especially in the IT world. Like, putting out content that like helps people understand A, what it is you do, and B, like just things that are happening in your industry, being the voice of that, and maybe being like a place that people can go to like learn, I think is really important.
Yeah.
And educational content is a really great and easy way to like come up with ideas for video specifically.
How-tos, what is, how it works. Yeah, content that's gonna like hopefully give some clarity or answers, or at least help them understand that you can help them with problems that they're having in their business. For example, if we're talking about B2B.
Yeah. And also it just shows people that like you know what you're talking about too.
Sure,
so like if you're able to articulate,
like become a thought leader.
Yeah, exactly. If you're able to like articulate a concept that may be really intricate or complicated, or you've Googled it and you don't really see anything out there that like makes it easy to digest, and you're able to kind of package that up in a nice way and become more trustworthy.
Just like a thought leader in the space. Yeah. I think trustworthy was a good one. Okay, my next out is sticking to the status quo. So this is something we see a lot in our industry, but it definitely happens just businesses in all different types of industries. Like people copying this off this person and that person copying that from that person, and then everybody just looks the same.
Yeah.
Or is talking about the same things and saying them the same ways. And sometimes like that's just how it is, because there's timely topics or conversations that are being had about specific topics that like your business sells or does or impacts your clients. But just like trying to differentiate and be different. It's the same word, but like be unique, bring like a value add to whoever is consuming your content, or whoever your clients are, that maybe like your next competitor over doesn't. And I think a lot of people don't do that because it's more comfortable to just be in the same realm of what everybody else is doing. So it's all just kind of like, this is how it is.
Yeah, exactly. I think also that goes just a little bit into like, even just like your branding. Because somebody else is doing it, or your industry always uses these colors and whatever, like I think it's important to not steer too far away, because you don't want to be unrecognizable, but you also don't want to just like fade into the background. So not being afraid to like modernize like the industry that you're in and like the type of content that you're putting out there, or even just your branding, like make it you. It's kind of like what we said earlier, is just like authentic and natural to you as a company. All right. You got
no, I said one? Well said.
Oh, appreciate it. In engaging with your audience. So like, especially with marketing in a small department, you don't have a ton of free time on your hands, but if you find yourself maybe with a little bit of some extra time, possibly just going through
it doesn't take a whole lot of effort.
Going through on your social media and engaging with other people that you follow, or responding to comments, or whatever that looks like for you. I think just like having those conversations with your audience, and it's not just one-sided with social media, especially you don't want to just post something out and then forget about it, but like going back to it and interacting. And if people are liking it, like maybe posting a comment or whatever, it's helpful. And it also like reminds people that like it's not just like a robot doing everything.
It's like almost like a two-way street. Like it's a relationship. Like if someone is doing something nice for you, this is a terrible analogy, you might want to do something nice back.
Right. So, a little IOU action. You help me, I help you.
Exactly. Okay. My next out is terrible swag. This is a thing in this industry.
Oh,
actually, Emily wrote shitty swag, but I was feeling self-conscious to say that.
It's in the name of the show. We can say shit.
This happens a lot. Probably not just in IT, but we obviously that's
where
we live, so
world,
we see
there's a lot of bad swag.
And I'm not throwing shade to swag. I actually love swag, but again, going back to like the sticking to the status quo, it's not just about your marketing content. Like just because somebody else has given out a pop socket at the conference last week, like you don't need to go make pop sockets, because that's actually like maybe people don't actually like that. So we actually do like take a lot of feedback, and like we'll have our director of client experience or like our sales reps like encourage feedback on some of the swag items that we'll give out. But we are definitely, I feel like, a little bit more intentional and like, what do we think would actually someone would actually
what would
like?
I want
Yeah,
too? Like,
and like what would
if I was on
ask
the
our
receiving
team?
end, yeah, like what would I want?
Right.
Like, do I want another, like you said, pop socket or pocket knife or bottle opener? It's like everybody's doing that. Like, what do people actually need or want?
Or if you think a bottle opener is cool and it makes sense, like find one that is like a little bit more unique or something.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of cool swag vendors out there. I love the swag vendors, but yeah, just finding items that people will remember too, right? You want them to look back in 6 months and be like, I'm still using this item that Plow gave me at this event. Or, oh, remember when they gave out that
like we should do that,
that
like that's
sweatshirt
cool.
or whatever? Yeah, I really like that. Like maybe we could do that at our company. Like just trying to leave a lasting impression with everything you do, and that includes swag.
Right. And also it's a spend, so like you're spending money on it, so you might as well like
a lot of money.
figure out like what people actually want or what they'll remember, because like it costs your business at the end of the day, and you don't really get much out of it besides like conversation or connection. Okay, I have 2 left, so I'm gonna kind of mesh them. But for our ends, targeted messaging, and then just overall trust. But I feel like for targeted messaging, for sure is in. Kind of this goes back to like the spammy emails. Like those emails won't really exist as much anymore when you're more deliberate with who you're sending them to, and you're kind of filtering who is receiving or who you want to receive the message. So I think we've slowly started to do a little bit more of that this past year. Yeah,
the goal is always like if something hits your contact's inbox, you want them to see it and be like, wow, I really relate to that. Yeah. And I think with that, you're right, comes trust, because you are feeling like the person sending to you knows you and understands you, can relate to all the things that you're experiencing. You need good data for that in terms of, and that's something like candidly that we've been working on for a while, in terms of just like getting good information on these people that you are marketing to. So just a thought there on the side.
Yeah, it's a labor of love for sure, and it's a learning process. But once you are able to kind of field out who should be receiving what messaging, it definitely, the payout is worth it, because your open rate is going to increase, your like click-through rate is going to increase, which we always want to see more of with emailing. So I mean, that's the end of this lovely marketing episode. Hope you guys have a great 2023, successful, and hopefully maybe this inspired you to create some new marketing goals or hire a whole marketing department. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe this scared you actually for marketing, and hopefully it didn't. But if it does feel a little bit overwhelming, it definitely can be. So take things bit by bit, and just feel out what you need. Like we said, like these are just things that worked for us in our business, but hopefully it is more of inspiration for like next steps for what you want to do. Yeah.
And Bryan Link will be back next week. We actually have a lot of fun episodes already lined up for the rest of this year.
We set smart goals, we planned, we communicated.
But if you're interested, some of the topics that you can look forward to Bryan talking about are the CFO and CTO relationship, how to get those two lovely folks aligned.
Not the easiest thing in the
world. Why is user experience so important in business, and how technology can impact that, of course. Business acquisitions and just fast-growing businesses in general. What's it like from the CIO or CTO perspective in terms of managing that? And then hopefully we'll get someone on to talk about perhaps the restaurant industry, and always like the driving force behind all of our episodes is like, what's the business driver behind your technology decisions? Right. So those are some of the episodes that we have lined up for you guys for this year so far.
Yeah, so if you're a new listener or you've been here since the beginning, we appreciate you, and we're really looking forward to the new year. So once again, Happy New Year, and we'll see you guys next time.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you are enjoying the podcast, we'd appreciate it if you would become a subscriber wherever you get your podcasts. And if you could rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, that would really help us out. Or you can just go old school and tell your friends, your family, your colleagues, and hell, anybody else who you think might want to hear something like this to listen in. If you're on social media, make sure to follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @cuttheshit_pod. We are also on TikTok @cuttheshitpod, all one word, where we post lots of clips from the podcast. And last but not least, you can also watch the YouTube version of the show on our YouTube channel @Plow Networks. Until next time, take care and have a great day.